our next guest grew up living in the same house as the national treasure, Gay Byrne. What more can you say?
Good morning, Suzy Byrne. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great, thank you.
And of course, your wonderful mother, Kathleen Watkins, as well. But honestly, when your dad was the most famous man in Ireland, and your mum wasn't far behind, everyone knew Kathleen as well, and everyone listened to him. What was that like?
As a child?
As a child?
Well, we knew no different. We were born into it, but both of them were very established broadcasters when myself and Crona came along. So that was life. We never knew any different. And they were very protective in one way of it, but at the same time, because it was only the two of us, we were involved in everything. Myself and Crona grew up in RTE, the grounds of RTE. Yeah. We were in and out of everything. We went to the theatres with them. We went everywhere. So I think it was quite normal. Everything was normal in that life that we had. Which was...
And your mum so protected of you as well. But then would it be true that if a topic was being covered that was quite hitting the psyche of the nation, your mum wouldn't go out of certain times because they'd be all going over, now we should have said this morning, or he should have done it that way.
The supermarket. She never went to the supermarket. She used to arrive at the supermarket door before it, as in when it opened at 8 o'clock, she'd be there. She couldn't do after the show, especially after the radio programme. Yeah. Just forget it. You wouldn't get anything. Everybody wanted to have just listened and waited until 11 o'clock, and then they went to the supermarket. So she would be inundated with everyone wanted to talk about it, so she avoided it like the plague.
Kathleen, your husband should have said this. Yes. He should have done that. Why didn't he do this? Yes. I can imagine. You've put together, this is the second in the volume. It's P.S. Gay, More Letters and Memories from the Gay Byrne Show. It is talking about the radio show that started out as a 1-hour show for housewives, and it grew into this legendary radio show that half the country listened to every single day. What's amazing about this is we all know, Joe Duffy came from this. There were so many women involved in the Gay Byrne Show. There
were. The team, it was predominantly women actually in his team. Yeah. Which I think when you're looking at research and people saying, he was, the women of Ireland loved him, they all wrote into him. He was a man of his own generation, as my mum was in that time. She was also a housewife and a mother when we were growing up with all that was going on in the country, and he very much valued women and surrounded himself with a team, especially the radio programme. Well, actually the Late Show had a lot of women as well, but he actively sought their opinions and education, I suppose, on what was going on and things.
And the book is amazing because some of the letters that people, we're talking about the 80s here, and I was just there a couple of minutes ago, I was reading about a woman who sent in a letter where her marriage had broken up because she felt that she had AIDS. She was going to, just through the AIDS, her husband was having an affair and she was going to a clinic now to see if she had AIDS. I mean, these type of topics to be covered on a radio show back then, it was amazing, phenomenal.
And I think as well, when you're going through the research and looking at the files and the letters, you really get the feeling that a lot of these people were actually speaking for the first time about these things.
Oh, exactly. It sounded like that woman was pouring her heart out.
They just took pen to paper and I think they felt that that he would listen to them, and also that I think they felt that he was their friend, and because they wrote, the letters are very much Dear Gay, and they're to him personally, and although they are to the radio programme. And you really get the feeling that there was risks taken in writing the letters, and a lot of people would say, please don't read out my name, or they protect themselves. So the radio show team would always type the letters and have the original behind, and if there was any names that needed to be changed, or so addresses were gone, or if somebody said I have 13 children, they might change that to 11, or something, that there was that these people were protected, so therefore they kept writing.
And it's amazing throughout it, you see, because you went into the RTE archives, I don't know if you can see that there, but it's kind of every show had its own file, because there was a law in broadcasting for years that you had to keep a record. When I started, it was up to 3 years of every single show of what happened and went on. And RTE have kept this record of everything. So it is a social history.
It really is.
Of our country.
And each day, each file, they're just these brown manila folders. Yeah. And they're of each day, and scraps of newspapers and articles and scribbled notes and background of people and letters, and I mean just almost a synopsis of the day that it was in the country as well, which is phenomenal.
And this is your second one, your second book.
Yes.
And when you were compiling this, your lovely, lovely mother, Kathleen, who I loved and adored, passed away.
She did.
That must have been an awful thing then. Did you at any stage go, I can't continue?
I did, yeah. Well, she was very much part, actually, of the research of this book, because she was living in Sandymount and I was up and down to RTE in the archives and with Alice O'Sullivan, who was working with me, and I'd be coming down every day saying to her, wait until you hear what I'm after finding this. Do you remember this? Do you remember that? So she was loving the research of it. Yeah. And then when she died, I couldn't go near it for a good while. And then kind of early in the spring this year, Alice and the publishers came back and said, look, you're nearly there with it. Do you want to finish it? And I kind of felt that it was a tribute to Mum as well to do it. And it is a lovely reflection of, it's kind of bookends. The Dear Gay book was very written social history, and this is the other side of the programme, so it's quite interesting in that sense.
Because it's interesting, as we said, like you mentioned, the AIDS epidemic was being discussed on the Gay Byrne Show. Abortion was being discussed. Domestic abuse. The amount of the letters that you have included in here, and women talking about their situations and kind of accepting it. Like, we've got to remember that, you know, rape within marriage was only made illegal in this country in the 90s. And feeling open and feeling there was no judgment.
Yes.
From the Gay Byrne Show. Because now we're so fragmented.
Yes.
They felt both sides of the coin. He really did let people have their say.
He did, and I think there was that community feel of the Gay Byrne Show, because they had nearly 1 million listeners every day. So it was the population, so it was the length and breadth of the country. So a feeling that somebody like that, I mean, in this particular book, some of the letters are from people whose adult children have moved home and who are abusive to their parents or their mother, and shocking mental abuse of people that have been as adults who have their own issues obviously going on, and you can hear the torture of the letters in that sense of my son is here, and or domestic abuse as well was.
But one thing that came through is the civility. I think it's so interesting, the civility in all of these letters. But there's another thing, because it was all sections of society. Sometimes people ask us here, lads, if you're doing something serious and then you move on to something else. He had a serious show, and then there's one thing here. Dear Gay, please ask your listeners if they know of any place I could get size 14 shoes for my husband. This is where a woman had to go to be like, I can't shot him, I don't know what to do. And they've got the answer for her.
And then you get it. And then the uproar when Switzers removed the gnomes from the Christmas window. Like,
phenomenal.
uproar.
Because we were looking for, because the days are day-to-day files, when we initially went into research, we were like, okay, well, let's pick specific things that happened. And Mary Robinson was elected in 1990. So we went to November 1990 to see what was happening around then. And while there was some stuff on the presidential election, it obviously had been dealt with on the Late Late Show more than anything. But actually in November, it was the Switzer's window, the gnomes being removed from Switzer's. That was what they went bananas over it, and they mounted a whole campaign, and Joe Duffy was down there to get the gnomes back, and people just couldn't believe it. And Switzers were obviously trying to make it more commercial, thought they'd do a fabulous grotto inside the store, and it was apparently amazing. But no, everybody wanted the gnomes in the windows, and they got them back.
Can we do one now to get the old Brown Thomas windows back? Because they're no fun anymore. It is a fascinating and absolutely gorgeous book.
Thank you.
Suzy Byrne, thank you so much for coming in.
Absolute
really
pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for
It's fabulous.
Thank
It's
you.
called P.S. Gay, More Letters and Memories from the Gay Byrne Show.